Hi guys, so what I have here is a Game Boy Color in teal, and this is an aftermarket shell, the third-party aftermarket shells, the generic ones. I'm retaining the usage of the original buttons and silicone pads. It has a glass lens cover, and when I turn it on, it has an IPS LCD in it made by FunnyPlaying. So while I completed this mod on March 11th, I began doing this mod on March 2nd. This is because this Game Boy Color originally had a cracked screen on it. And also, the original shell was pretty much scratched up, and I didn't see a battery cover on there. So I decided to not only replace the shell and the IPS LCD, but also replace the speaker with FunnyPlaying's clear Game Boy Color speaker and also the capacitors with newer ones. So, let's talk about the IPS LCD. To change the brightness on the LCD, I have a touch sensor right here, and as you can see, I'm increasing the brightness. So if I hold this touch sensor for a few seconds, it gets super darn bright, as you can see here. So let me just put the brightness setting at dim, so you can see a little clearer than it is when it's bright. So I like this mod because it gives retro gaming a new life with a newer kind of screen for present day. So let me give you an inside look of this mod. Just hang on a second. So as you can see on the inside, which I took apart the Game Boy Color and put the back shell aside, as there's the FunnyPlaying clear speaker, new capacitors, and it appears I additionally replaced the battery contacts with newer ones. So the reason I replaced the battery contacts and capacitors is that when I have an IPS mod in there, I want it to always have a fresh start when I turn it on, always. So anyways, I'm gonna take the 3 screws out with my Phillips screwdriver, and I'll show you what I mean by the sensor being right there. So as you can see, I was cutting the shell on my own to fit the IPS LCD in there, and the reason I'm using copper tape for the touch sensor to be placed right there is that when I was trying to install the included ribbon for this IPS LCD ribbon for the touch control brightness sensor, I accidentally screwed up the solder point for the brightness sensor, and instead I soldered a wire on the top of C11 resistor right there, and it works. Inside that C11, so I just mentioned it, I'm not gonna actually do it in this video. Oh, another thing, I shaved a little bit of the plastic down on the IO sensor to fit the IPS LCD in there too. So if you want to do the Game Boy Color IPS LCD mod, I would recommend buying a pre-trimmed shell so you can avoid the risk of damaging the shell whenever you screw up. About the motherboard, as you can see, I trimmed down the cartridge pins and the battery terminal positive to make the IPS LCD fit in there without issues Otherwise, the motherboard would pinch the IPS LCD and not close it up all the way. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you about inside this mod, as in an inside look at this mod. So what I did during the progress of this mod. Anyway, I'm gonna reassemble the Game Boy now. Oh, by the way, the 3D printed spacers for the IPS LCD mod is made by Retro Modding. Anyway, get back to the reassembly. Well, guys, this just about does it for me in this video. If you like this video, why don't you give it a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more future content. And as always, thank you for watching, and have a good evening.